After a lively opening round at the Blighton Park circuit in Lincolnshire, the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship moves to the home of motorsport in South Wales here at the Pembrey circuit for the first of 2 days of action. Windy and rather rainy conditions here in Wales, but the drivers making the best of it. Almost 50 drivers here across 8 different classes to do battle this weekend at one of the classic homes of this fantastic championship. Before we get underway, let's hear from a few of the drivers.
I'm here with Thomas Ramanauskas, who's racing his Mitsubishi Evo today. How's today been for you so far?
So far, the start was not very good. We have technical problems with the car on the first heat. Just done 2 laps and practice and 2 laps of heat 1. And then need to catch up, So second one, I think so third with the supercars in my class first, and heat 3 come second with the supercars and first in my class.
What's it like being on the grid with the supercars at the same time?
It's a bit funny, Them cars got double horsepower, so just very big mistakes if they make it, then you can overtake. Otherwise, if you got like 4 laps, we're just running maybe half lap further.
Well, wish you all the very best for this afternoon, Thomas, and maybe speak to you again later.
Okay, thank you very much.
Walking around the paddock, I found Will Ovenden, who's one of the main runners in the junior championship. Will, how's the racing been for you so far today?
Good, yeah. The first 2 heats went really well, and I managed to get a second and a first, which was ideal. And then the rain started falling in heat 3, which doesn't suit me quite as well, but got on with it, come 4th in the end, so yeah, it's a good result.
So do you know where you are on the grid?
I'm predicting I'll be second for the final, which is good. It's quite a nice place to start from the front row. It's where you want to be. Yeah. But so definitely have a chance to win.
And main arch rivals for today would be who?
Tyler McAlpin, been quick all day, so I'll have to put up a good fight to beat him. But I'd be happy if I could.
Well, we'll see how you get on later on this afternoon. All the very best.
Great, thank you very much.
John, it's been a less than straightforward day for you today so far. How are things standing at the moment?
I think we'll be on the front row for the final, but probably on the outside. I've had 2 wins and a last. So that should be enough, but we've still got some minor problems with the car, but it's getting there.
Now, are you sure it's the car and not the nut behind the wheel?
No, there's nothing wrong with the nut behind the wheel. Well, nothing that knocking off 30 years wouldn't put right anyway. Put it that way.
What sort of issues have you had today?
Just with a strange little misfire that we thought we had cured when we found a pipe off, but when we put it back on it got worse, so we've left it off again now.
So what's your preference, dry conditions or wet?
I prefer the dry, but this is only the 3rd race I've driven this car in the wet, which is unbelievable, racing in England for 4 years, isn't it? But the previous 2, or the previous 3 were the 3 immediately before. So learning the wet quick.
Well, having seen you racing over several decades, John, I'm sure that you're the man for the job, and we'll see how you get on in the final.
Well, I'd never give up. I mean, the first 3 races this year, I've started the final on the back row and finished second all 3 times, but it's getting a bit frustrating to keep finishing second to the same bloke. As much as I like Lee, he needs to be behind me, not in front.
Right, well, thanks for spending the time with us, John, and wish you all the very best for this afternoon's final.
Thank you. I hope to speak to you after the final.
Well, before we get underway with race action, let's take a look at the course here at Pembrey in use today. We're on board with Todd Crooks in his super-modified BMW Mini, using the clockwise direction. Of course, racing held in 2 directions here at Pembrey. Off the line, it's into a left-right chicane out onto the main circuit. Then it's through a long right-hander, past what will be the finish line where the checkered flag will go out. Then it's into another little chicane over the infield, over the old runways at this former airfield circuit. Then a tighter right-hander taking the cars into this long back straight. Todd Crooks taking us round. We'll see him in action in the super modified class as always. Slightly different circuit layout over the last couple of years. They normally go up to the hairpin on the old layout. They turn right a little earlier there through this long right-hander and over the loose section on the infield past the paddock on the left. Pretty busy pack battling here in the super modified division. Then a tighter right-hander takes the cars back round onto the tarmac and up towards the finish line, once again missing out the start line chicane. And then back again onto the infield section. That's a lap of the Pembrey course in use today. Well, we begin our roundup of the A finals with the MOT Group Production Rallycross category. 2 heat wins for Alex Fletcher in his Honda Civic. He'll start as one of the favourites here. And round 1 winner Martin Peters took the other qualifying heat in his Citroën Saxo. Stuart Woolen in the R1 Motorsports Peugeot 106 completes the front row. They're underway through the chicane for the first time. It's Martin Peters who's got away best in the Saxo. He leads them off. Stuart Woolen up to second. Not the best of starts for Alex Fletcher. The Loughborough College run Honda Civic goes down to third, just ahead of Mark Henry in his unique Alfa Romeo 147, the only Alfa Romeo competing in Rallycross in the UK. Down to the far end of the circuit, through the right-hander and into this long back straights. Used to be even longer on the previous layout up to the hairpin, but now they turn off to the right a little earlier down what is known as Speedway Straight here at Pembrey. Through this long right-hander onto the infield section, you can see a bit of rain coming down. Typical Welsh weather, unfortunately, here at Pembrey, but the drivers making the best of it. As is Martin Peters, looking for 2 wins out of 2 in the MOT Group Production category this year. It's the class aimed at relative newcomers to the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Mark Henry in there in 4th place, feeling a bit under the weather this weekend, unfortunately, but racing as hard as he can in the Alfa Romeo. Good 4th place for him in round 1 at Blyton in Lincolnshire, but matching that performance here at the moment. Stuart Woolen in 2nd place. Failed to start after an accident in practice at Blyton, so needs some points here. Going well in the R1 Motorsports Peugeot 106, prepared by the Stutchbury family. We've seen them out in the Classic division, among others, in the past. Alex Fletcher under fire from Mark Henry now. Seen Alex Fletcher in the modified division. Took the title in that category last year, battling with James Avison in the Ford Focus. 5th position behind them is James Ash at the wheel of his Citroën C2 VTS. The other car in the field, Kestutis Butkus in the Suzuki Swift. One other car here this weekend was championship contender Charlie Titcomb, many backing him as a favourite to retain the title he won last year. Unfortunately had some problems in practice, so Charlie not running today, sadly. Hopefully he'll be out for round 3 tomorrow here at Pembrey. Martin Peters out in front then. A bit sideways there as he comes onto the infield section. Nearly lost it. Stuart Woolen could take advantage here. He's almost up alongside in the R1 Peugeot. Doesn't quite get alongside. Martin Peters able to hold his lead. And now closing up Mark Henry and Alex Fletcher. Henry up into 3rd place in the Alfa Romeo. Alex Fletcher trying to fight back. James Ash next in the order. That's Kestutis Butkus in the Suzuki Swift at the back of the field. His first round this weekend in this increasingly popular, always entertaining championship. Motorsport should be fun, and with the BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship, it always is. On lap 4 of this 5-lap race now. Short, exciting races in Rallycross. Still very slippery out there, as we saw last time through this section. Martin Peters almost lost it. They're queuing up now behind him. Mark Henry up there in 3rd in the Alfa Romeo. He's a little bit sideways there as they come over the loose section, past the paddock, down towards this tight right-hander, towards the end of the 4th lap. Martin Peters still leads. Stuart Woolen shadowing him all the way. Between those 2 stacks of tyres, that'll be the finish line next time around. That's where the checkered flag will go out. Through this little chicane, out towards the back of the circuit. Stuart Woolen bouncing over the curb there. Mark Henry still in 3rd place, holding off Alex Fletcher there. Clear in turn of James Ash in the I believe that's the ex-Tom Brooks Citroën C2. And Alex Fletcher's lost it, coming down the back straight. Well, and off onto the grass he goes, hits the tyre stack. The Loughborough College man has kept it going. A lucky escape there for the Honda pilots. That's dropped him back from Mark Henry now. Could be into the clutches of James Ash in the Citroën. Kestutis Butkus still running further behind. They're coming round towards the checkered flag. Looks like it's going to be a win for Martin Peters 2 A finals out of 2 in 2023, and very close for second place there. Mark Henry almost getting up the inside of Stuart Woolen out of the final corner. So it is a win for Martin Peters by just over a second there from Stuart Woolen, who just held off Mark Henry by a couple of tenths at the line. And Alex Fletcher got a penalty there for exceeding track limits. He drops down to 5th behind James Ask. Kestutis Putkus completing the finishers in our Production A final, sponsored by the MOT Group.
I'm here with Martin Peters, who just won our first final of the afternoon. Martin, how was that final for you?
Good. Got a really good start, and then just went for it.
And the conditions look quite greasy and slippery out there.
Yeah, it's getting slippery now. We've had a bit of rain. It's been perfect all day, but obviously for the finals we've had some rain in between. It's definitely slippery.
But no dust.
No dust. Yeah. Always look on the bright side.
There's always some positive if you look hard enough for it. So how's the car going?
The car's going fine. Perfect. Not had any issues all day. Just put fuel in it and go.
That's what I like to hear. All nice and straightforward.
Well, hopefully it stays like that, yeah.
Do you do your own mechanics, or you've got a team helping you?
Well, I've got a couple of lads helping me, yeah, but we do all our own mechanical stuff.
Yeah. Well done for your win, and we'll see what happens again tomorrow for round 3.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
For as far as today's concerned, congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Now it's on to the Young Guns, the AVM Motors Junior category. Pole position, Tyler McAlpin. He won 2 of the heats. The other heat winner, Will Ovenden, in the red car. He was the winner of round 1 at Blyton. Corey Paget completing the front row, the 3 Suzuki Swifts. They lead this 6-car field away, and it is McAlpin who gets away best from the inside through this left-right for the first time. Corey Paget's got away well side by side with Will Ovenden. Paget was involved in a bit of argy-bargy in the first round at Blyton. He got a penalty, dropping him down a place into 3rd, having crossed the line 2nd behind Will Ovenden. It is Tyler McAlpin who leads the way. Jimmy Jeekins in there in the Nissan Micro. Good to see that car repaired after he rolled at the first round in Lincolnshire. McAlpin it is who leads the way then around the first of 5 laps. Will Ovenden, the man from Kent, giving chase. The Ovenden family, a long history in Rallycross, particularly at their local venue at Liddon Hill. Corey Paget in there in 3rd. It's Jeekins. 5th place, the blue car there, Ben Bartlett, a newcomer this year. And at the back is a man in his first event today, Teddy McPherson, in another of the ubiquitous Suzuki Swifts. Just the Nissan Micra to break their dominance here this weekend. Jimmy Jeekins, the brother of Alfie Jeekins, who used to race that car in this junior division. He's now moved into circuit racing with the Mini Challenge, if I remember rightly. The back of the field there, Teddy McPherson giving chase to Ben Bartlett. Given a decent account of himself today, Teddy McPherson a best of 3rd in the 3 heats, taking 3rd in heat 3 behind Tyler McAlpin and Corey Paget, finishing ahead of Will Ovenden. Will giving chase to Tyler McAlpin in the white and yellow Swift there. A couple of A final wins last year. They've split into 2 groups of 3 here in this AVM Motors Junior Rallycross A final. Jimmy Jeekins heading the 2nd group ahead of Ben Bartlett and Teddy McPherson, displaying the name of Peter Gwynn Motorsport on the back of the Swift there. Peter Gwynn doing so much to encourage new drivers into Rallycross and into rallying as well through his rally school. Jeekins pulling away a little bit now from the 2 Swifts in 5th and 6th, but it's still Tyler McAlpin who leads the way. The whites and the Dayglow yellow trim on that car, almost a look-alike of the old Brawn GP cars of 2009. Jenson Button took to the world title. Ovenden in there in 2nd place, and Corey Paget in 3rd. We'll see his father, Phil Chicken, out in the super modified class a little later on with his Citroen C2. Corey looking to recoup ground. Across the lines, we say, in 2nd place at Blyton in the A final, was penalised 1 place though for a bit of contact. It was Will Ovenden who took the win ahead of Tyler McAlpin on that occasion, but positions reversed at the moment. Can Ovenden close in and snatch a 2nd A final win of the season and pull away at the top of the championship? We've already seen Martin Peters complete an A final double for the season so far in the production category, put himself at the top of the standings. Of course, all the categories have their points charts combined at the end of the season to give an overall champion. Darren Bleasdale, super modified, was unbeaten in A finals last year with his Vauxhall VX220 as Jimmy Jeekins goes off there, hits the tyres. It's got sideways over the grass. That's taken a chunk out of the front bumper on his Nissan Micra. Been a bit of a bruising season so far. He rolled it in the A final at Blyton. Now he's hit the tyres here at Pembrey. 1 lap to go for Tyler McAlpin. Through the chicane. Can Will Ovenden catch him? Make it 2 A finals for the year. This is going to be close. We have seen a junior driver take the overall title in the past. Luke Constantine, a couple of years ago, scored the championship. He's now moved into circuit racing. Here they come then over the infield section. Normally we'd see plenty of dust flying on this bit of track, but so with a bit of rain falling, no chance today as Ovenden closes up. Could we be in for a last spin move? They're coming down to the tightest corner on the circuit. A bit of rubbing there. McAlpin gets fired wide. Get off, he says to Will Ovenden. Puts his foot down. I think he's just about going to hang on. Tyler McAlpin wins the Junior A final. That was certainly close there in the closing stages. Close for 4th as well, but I think Jimmy Jeekins is going to hang on ahead of Ben Bartlett and Teddy McPherson, who's given a good account of himself on his debut this weekend. Check out the results in just a second then. Well done, Tyler McAlpin. Picks up his first A final of the season. Beating Will Ovenden home by just about 3/10 of a second there. Corey Paget dropping back a bit in the closing stages to take 3rd. And then Jimmy Jeekins holding off Ben Bartlett and Teddy McPherson to complete the finishers in the AVM Motors Junior A final.
Tyler, that was a great win in tricky conditions out there.
Yeah, it was some very tricky conditions. It was really just try and keep it on the track, if I'm being honest. It was more of a tactical race rather than a sprint. It was just keep it on the track, and you can't overtake round here, especially the clockwise layout. It's very tricky to overtake, so I knew if I could just keep the lead out of turn 1, I'd have a good chance of winning it. So.
Yeah. And winning is something that you're getting used to after 2 wins in the Five Nations recently over Easter.
Yeah, it was very good for Five Nations, and I just hope I can carry on this momentum into tomorrow and the rest of the season, really. It would be good if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously not so good for the opposition, but they've got as much chance as you.
Yeah, especially in these conditions, anyone can win. It takes one mistake to be out of the race, so you really have to just drive well to keep it on the track.
Well, you drove very well, tricky conditions, and with skill belying your tender age. So many congratulations, and well, let's see what happens in round 3.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully it will be good.
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
Now it's on to the SG Haulage Rotec Limited Super Modified class. Fred Ling with 2 heat wins is on pole position. The other heat winner, Todd Crooks, in the BMW Mini. Gary Cook in the Ford Fiesta completing the front row, and it's a great start by Fred Ling in the Fiesta. He leads them off. Chris Smith coming through in the Honda Civic from the second row. He's got away well and up into second place. It's Fred Ling, winner of round 1 at Blyton, who takes off into the lead in the Fiesta. No Bleasdales this year. They've dominated the last 2 years in their Vauxhall VX220s. Not the best of starts for Todd Crooks, unfortunately. He's dropped back into around 5th place there behind Phil Chicken in the Citroen C2. James Avison, previously seen in the modified class in a Honda Civic, at the back of the field at the moment in this one. Chris Smith up there in second, had a couple of wins in the modified class here at Pembrey last year. He's in second place ahead of Gary Cook. The wipers going on all the cars, so rain still coming down as Todd Crooks runs a bit wide in the BMW Mini. His wife Jordine Crooks, the coordinator of this series, does so much work for Rallycross behind the scenes. You've seen her race occasionally as well, Britain's fastest nurse, as we call her. Gary Cook there, the former overall champion of several years ago, the college lecturer on the back of Chris Smith in the Honda, who goes sideways. He's going off onto the grass. Good save by Chris Smith there, trying to hold off Gary Cook for that second. Great fight going on between these two, but it's allowing Fred Ling to escape at the front in this super modified final, sponsored by SG Haulage and Rotec Limited. And again, Chris Smith is sideways. He's going off. Chris Smith goes off wide. Gary Cook goes through in the second, and Phil Chicken will get through as well. They door handle together. Chris Smith's all over the place in the Honda. Nearly takes out Phil Chicken in the Citroen C2. This is allowing James Avison and Todd Crooks to close up as well. What is Chris Smith doing here? Well, driving more like he's in a rally than a rallycross. And finally, Phil Chicken gets around the outside. There's contact to Ken Chicken, not leaving any room for Chris Smith there. It's getting a bit bruising here in the midfield, to say the least. Chris Smith, we've seen him again. He's sideways there. This is not a drifting competition, Chris. This is a rallycross. He had 2A final wins here at Pembrey in the modified class last year. He's in danger of losing out to Todd Crooks in his first run with the super modifieds this weekend. Almost contact there between two. Again, he's sideways there. Well, it certainly looks spectacular. He's way out sideways. Look at the tail hanging out there on the Honda. I don't know if there's a bit of damage to the rear suspension or something there, which is affecting the handling. And Todd Crooks goes off. Now he spins coming onto the infield. So we lose another of our contenders from this mad midfield battle. There's James Avison. Saw him in a Ford Focus last season. Now in the Honda Civic, running at the tail of the field. A couple of non-starters in this one, incidentally, and Todd Crooks trying to struggle away there, but no, he's pulling onto the infield. Something's broken there on the BMW Mini, sadly. You're saying there, a couple of non-starters in this A final. Maciek Florszak, the Polish driver with his Ford Fiesta, and also Michelle Swallow, her Porsche Boxster, broke its gearbox in Heat 1, so she's going to try and get that car back out for round 3 tomorrow. Well, all that chaos in the midfield has allowed Fred Ling to escape. Had a lot of technical problems with the Fiesta last season, but looking for 2A final wins out of 2 to go clear at the top of the Super Modified Championship. They're still at it in the battle for third. Gary Cook's been able to escape in second place in his Fiesta. Failed to finish the first A final of the year at Blyton, so eager to get some points on the board. He's not going to catch Fred Ling. They're on the last lap now. Looks like it is going to be a win for the blue and white Ford Fiesta ST150. Fred Ling establishing himself as a firm favourite for Super Modified Championship honours this year. If he wins the overall title, he can't win the Super Modified class as well. He can only win one championship each year. If he wins the A final, that's 2 out of 2 this year for Fred Ling. They're still at it for third place behind Gary Cook. Phil Chicken has third place at the moment, ahead of Chris Smith, who's calmed down a bit in the closing stages here in the Honda. They cross the line third and fourth, and James Avison finishes in fifth. Todd Crooks has sadly retired. Great shame after his heat win earlier on, but it is Fred Ling who makes it 2 A finals out of 2 this year. 2 seconds clear of Gary Cook, making it a Fiesta 1-2. Then Chicken, Smith and Avison after their frantic battle, third, fourth and fifth. It was a CV joint failure, unfortunately, on Todd Crooks' BMW Mini that put him out of the race. He'll hopefully repair for tomorrow and round 3.
Fred, what a win. That looked pretty emphatic from where I was standing.
Yeah, I knew the start was going to be crucial because it's very, very difficult to overtake here. I knew there was a lot of quick cars here today, so if one got in front of me, I knew that was it. I don't think I'd been able to get past. So yeah, luckily the start was okay. It wasn't brilliant, but the start was okay and held the lead into turn 1, and sort of from there, yeah, just tried to keep it clean, no mistakes, and yeah, it worked out well.
Yeah. Leave everyone to battle for second place.
Hope something like that. Hopefully, maybe, yeah. I don't know. Just, yeah, try and drive as quick as I can, really. And yeah, really happy. The car's been faultless all day again, so fingers crossed. Tomorrow hopefully be more of the same.
Yeah. Well done, Dave, for putting such a good car and engine together.
Yeah, faultless job, really. I mean, it's just such an easy car to drive as well, which I think, especially when the weather turns like now, helps a lot.
No, they see that's where, because a professional driver makes it look easy. That's really what.
I'm not sure about that.
Well, either way, Fred, a great victory, very well done, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Brilliant, yeah. Hopefully more of the same. Hopefully we have some nice sunny Welsh sunshine to play with, but we'll have to wait and see. Cheers, Steve.
Well done, Fred.
Cheers. Thank you.
Next up, it's one make racing, the Bone Street Autos BMW Mini category. Abby McGuinness is on pole after 2 heat wins. Dave Ellis, the other heat winner, second on the grid. Ben Sayer completing the front row. They get underway then, 6 cars out there. Decent start from the outside of the front row by former junior rallycross driver Ben Sayer, and he will take the lead. Just squeezes around the outside of Dave Ellis. Not the best of getaways for Abby McGuinness. She drops back into third place. Round 1 winner Charlie Maroney is not here. I think we've lost one car already. James Hawkes in the black and green car has hit problems off the line, so he's dropped out of the race already. And it is Ben Sayer who leads from Dave Ellis. Abby McGuinness in third, holding off Harvey Harmon in the blue car, and Leanne Sedgwick at the back of the field at the moment in the yellow machine, the former stock car racer. She missed the first 2 heats, having issues with the power steering, we're told, on her car, but she's got it up and running properly there at the back of this group. There's Harvey Harman in 4th place, only 7th in the first round at Blyton, which was won by former production contender Charlie Maroney. He's not here in Wales this weekend, so a chance for his rivals to close up. Ben Sayer was 4th in round 1, the former junior rallycrosser of a couple of years ago in the Sayers Road Tankers BMW Mini. He's well out in front. 2 seconds and a 4th for him in the heats. So we could have 3 different winners if he stays out in front in our Bone Street Autos BMW Mini category. They used to run as a class within the Super Modified Championship up until a couple of years ago, when the number of entries meant that they were given their own standalone championship. Dave Ellis in 2nd place. Now, he was 2nd at Blyton as well, so if he finishes 2nd here, I think he will take the lead of the championship in the Proctor's Coaches sponsored car. There's Leanne Sedgwick at the back of the field. Used to race in the hurly-burly world of 1300cc stock cars on the short ovals. Very hard-hitting category, but of course rallycross a non-contact sport. Chasing Harvey Harman there. Leanne, who used to race a Citroen Saxo in the production championship. It's Ben Sayer out in front. There's the Proctor's sponsored car in 2nd. Kevin Proctor, of course, very successful rallycrosser and rally driver over the years, runs his coach company up in the northeast of England. Dave Ellis, the driver of the number 4 car for him there in 2nd place. A little further back in 3rd, that's Abby McGuinness, used to race mini stocks on the short ovals. Finally took her first A final win in this category last year. Shame we've lost James Hawkes, the latest member of the Hawkes family to go into rallycross. He pulled up on the first corner. Had some problems in the heats as well. We saw Andy Hawkes win the championship in this category last year. He's moved on to race one of the all-4 BMW Mini Countryman machines this season. Not here at Pembrey this weekend though, sadly. Fairly well spaced out now in the closing stage of this BMW Mini A final, sponsored by Bone Street Autos. Onto the infield section comes Ben Sayer. We see him take his maiden A final win in the category. He's got a decent lead over Dave Ellis. He's keeping it smooth over this slightly more bumpy infield section. That's this tight right-hander. Keeps it to the inside on the curb, back onto the tarmac. About to start his final. Great drive by Ben Sayer. Made a great start from the outside of the front row. Able to get the overlap on Dave Ellis into the first corner. A slightly slower getaway for Abby McGuinness. She's been 3rd all the way. Very much a rising star of UK Rallycross in this Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Great to see so many cars on display at the Autosport International Racing Car Show at the NEC in Birmingham in January. There were double figures of cars on display in one of the main halls there. I've seen several of the cars in action in the live action arena over the years as well. Well, Ben Sayer, junior graduate a couple of years ago, is coming in for his maiden A final win in the BMW Mini, sponsored by Bone Street Autos. He takes the win in the Sayers Road Tankers car, ahead of Dave Ellis. 2 second places in A finals so far. By my reckoning, Dave Ellis will be leading the championship with Charlie Maroney absent. Ben Sayer weaves the car in celebration. Abby McGuinness coming over in 3rd. Winning margin there, just over 2 seconds for Ben Sayer ahead of Dave Ellis. Abby McGuinness in 3rd ahead of Harvey Harman, who just beat Leanne Sedgwick home for 4th place. We lost James Hawkes on the opening lap, while Gus Glass, the other car here, was a non-starter. Well done, Ben Sayer, then taking the win in the Bone Street Autos BMW Minis.
Here I am with Ben Sayer, who's just come off the track, having won his BMW Mini final. Your first BTRDA Mini final win, I believe.
Thankfully, yes. Well, I had a pretty bad day during the heats. Managed to get on the front row for the final, and then all I thought was I need a good start. So I got the revs bang on and she took off like a rocket. Really good start, and then kept my head down for the rest of the race, but was too busy watching Dave Ellis behind, and luckily kept it together and got the win.
Yes, it's, and against very equal cars and so many of them on the grid, it wasn't easy. It was never going to be an easy win.
No, well, I thought that going into the first corner, I thought it's going to be tight, but I managed to get a good start and just nip in a bit. I got a bit of a contact on the back of the car, but we managed to pull it straight and carry on.
Yeah, because rallycross is, after all, a non-contact sport, but a little nudging can happen.
Yeah, that's what they say, but nudging happened in every race I've had, so it wasn't that bad, so we got away lucky.
Well, it's a great win, and we'll wait to see what happens in round 3.
Hopefully the same again. Can only wish.
Well, all the very best with round 3, and thanks for speaking to us now, Ben.
Thank you very much.
Next up is the Melius Limited Pre-95 Classic Division. 3 different heat winners: John Cross in the Lancia Stratos replica, Jamie McBain in the Peugeot 205, and Lee Wood, the winner of round 1 at Blyton, in the Motorquip Escorts. They make up the front row. Not the best of starts for John Cross. It's Lee Wood who goes clear on the run into the first turn. Dan Swaylen moving up there on the outside in the Mark 1 Escort as well. It's Lee Wood ready in the clear in that beautiful Motorquip Mark 2. Jamie McBain in the Peugeot failed to start the first round at Blyton after he rolled the car in practice, up there in second place. And John Cross, who was second in round 1 after a stirring battle with Lee Wood in the Stratos replica, in third. Good to have Alan Tapscott here as well, the man from Devon. Seen him for many years in the super modified class in a Corsa. He's up there in his Mark 2 Escort that he switched to over the last couple of years in fourth. It's the Motorquip John Welch Mark Lloyd replica Escort who leads the way in the hands of Lee Wood. Darrell Ambrose there in fifth in the Peugeot 106. And there's Ryan Stutchbury. Good to have Ryan back out in the R1 Motorsport Peugeot 205. Goes through on the inside, taking Dan Swaylen's Mark 1 Escorts. One non-starter in this race is the Flying Farmer, David Ewan, the man from Cumbria. Unfortunately suffered a broken steering rack on his Ford Fiesta Evo in the heat, so unable to start the A final, unfortunately. Missed the opening round at Blyton due to commitments on his farm. Not the luckiest of starts of the season, sadly, for David. Out in front it is Lee Wood, looking for 2 A final wins out of 2. Many backing Lee Wood as a favourite for the overall championship this year. Also competes in classic hot rods with his Vauxhall Viva, the Jerry Marshall lookalike. Darrell Ambrose under fire from Ryan Stutchbury. The 2 Peugeots run together. Stutchbury trying to go around the outside on the slightly boggy infield section. Dan Swaylen, that beautiful Mark 1 Escort, in behind them. One other runner further back in this race, Helen Crooks, mother of Todd Crooks, in her Classic Mini. Former Classic Mini category champion. The category's changed slightly this year, and off goes Darrell Ambrose, sliding off there at the chicane onto the old runway at Pembrey. I don't think there was any contact there with Ryan Stutchbury. Darrell Ambrose graduating from the production category this year in a slightly more modified 106 this time around. Rejoins towards the tail of the field. Good to have flying Ryan Stutchbury back out. The fire there from Dan Swaylen in the Mark 1 Escort. Known as the Hangover Rallycross team in the past, the Stutchbury family. We saw Ryan's father Scott competing a couple of years ago as well in their Peugeot 205s. Jamie McBain also representing the men in green. He's up there in second place, the car rebuilt after its rollover at Blyton. Certainly has been an incident-packed start to the year for the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. There's McBain, there's John Cross in that Lancia Stratos replica, the car that's revolutionised rallying back in the 70s. And that car was introduced in the famous Alitalia livery. Some said that's not a car, that's a light aircraft without wings. Well, this one, I don't think this one, John Cross, has a Ferrari engine in it like the originals did. Very rapid classic kit car though. Leader coming up to lap, Helen Crooks in her Mini. Down towards the end of the back straight for the final time. Hopefully Helen will see Lee Wood looming in her mirror. She will move aside and let the Escort through. Lee Wood heading for 2 A finals out of 2. Can afford to sit behind the Mini there until he gets a passing opportunity on Helen Crooks. Round the outside he goes of the Mini. He's coming in to take the victory. 2 out of 2 for Lee Wood in 2023. He goes clear at the top of the Pre-95 Classic standings. Ryan Stutchbury is just going to hold off Dan Swaylen's Escort further back. We'll confirm the full result in a moment. Jamie McBain taking second in the 205. Looks like it was John Cross who came over in third. No problem at all for Lee Wood, though. Escort takes its second A final win of the season, just over a second clear of Jamie McBain at the flag, with John Cross a few tenths further back in third. Alan Tapscott fourth in the Mark II Escort. Brian Stutchbury just holding off Dan Swalen for fifth. Darrell Ambrose after a spin rejoining to take seventh. Helen Crooks a lap down in eighth place. Of course, David Ewan a non-start.
And with a man who's got quite used to winning in Rallycross recently, Lee Wood, another win. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was all pretty much in the start. It's a bit greasy, the track's a bit difficult. We've got 2 or 3 different sort of styles of cars at the front, so it was all about getting it right at the start really, and then controlling what we've done from there.
Getting what the Americans would call the whole shot.
The whole shot, yes. I'm not sure what the Welsh call it, but
well done, probably. With Jamie with his front-wheel drive, very powerful Peugeot, and John with his mid-engine rear-wheel drive Stratos, and there you are in a more conventional rear-wheel drive front-engine Escort, which all great examples of rallycross machinery.
Yeah, the great thing about this, this formula is that you're competing against different cars, different sort of wheelbases, different configurations all the time. So it's not just about going out there; it's maintaining it and looking after what you've got when you're out there. So.
And the old Mark II working well.
Yeah, it seems to be at the moment, touch wood. So we'll just keep it fettled and looking good, and try and fix in the bits that keep falling off. But other than that, we're all right.
Are you talking about the car or the driver?
Both there,
Okay.
Definitely both.
Well, it's great to see you win, and a very good race. Congratulations, Lee.
Thank you very much. No, great stuff. See you tomorrow.
Next up, we go to the SGS Welding Gases FIA Cross Car Rallycross category. David Attiwell, Will Butler and Luke Holly took a win each in the heats, and somebody has jumped the starts. Who was that? Was it the 23 of Luke Holly? Or was it David Attiwell? We shall see. It was Luke Holly. He's been moved to the back of the grid as a penalty for that jump start. Will Butler and David Attiwell then forming the front row, the 2 blue cars. Away they go, and it is David Attiwell, the ex-classic category competitor, who jumps ahead in these raucous 600cc buggies, the French-built machines. Will Butler, the winner of round 1 at Blighton, which was a rather incident-packed race, up into second place. Let's see how Luke Holly, the reigning champion, comes through. He's in 5th at the moment behind Ethan Rouse, the debutant, there in 4th place in the number 424. As they head out onto the back straight for the first time, it's David Attiwell who leads the way. Led the final at Blighton until he suddenly slowed and allowed Will Butler to come through. Butler on his tail there as they come round on the opening lap. It's Paul Batson in 3rd position, and Luke Holly has already made up 1 place at the wheel of the green machine there. Man behind SGS Welding Gases sponsorship of this series. He's got ahead of Ethan Rouse. The FIA cross cars introduced midway through last season at Midden Hill. There are just 2 of these machines on display on that occasion. Luke Holly and Paul Batson at the wheel of them. They're now battling for 3rd position. It's David Attiwell out in front. Quite a change to the Vauxhall Nova that he used to race in the classic division, the pre-95s. Will Butler up there in 2nd place, looking to extend his championship lead. Attiwell was 2nd in round 1, I should say, at Blighton. It was Holly 3rd ahead of Batson. Quite a few spins in that A final, and Paul Batson getting just a little sideways there as they come onto the infield section. Chased by Luke Holly, his great rival from last season. Ethan Rouse, our newcomer this weekend, just learning the Yarcar Cross SXC buggy. In France and in Spain as well. We saw these buggies in action at the NEC and the Live Action Arena at Autosport International 2023. A number of Spanish drivers came over to join the British competitors. With this tight right-hander onto the back straight. Now time to get the power down. It's just what David Attiwell is doing in the sky blue machine there. He's looking good. Out in front in the AVM Motors backed number 501. Associated with darts, of course, than motorsports. Unless you're in Formula 1 stock cars, the Elwell family making that number famous over the years. Will Butler not giving up here. It's all over the tail of David Attiwell. Still pretty slick if you get offline here. The rain has eased very slightly here at Pembrey. Drivers hoping for better conditions for round 3 tomorrow. using the anti-clockwise course on that occasion. And Will Butler's having a look now as they come down towards the end of the back straights. About a lap and a half to go. And the battling Batson and Holly have moved up as well onto their tails. We could have a four-way fight for the lead. It's getting closer. Luke Holly a bit sideways there in the background. David Attiwell is going to have to work for this victory. Looking for his first A-final win of the season. His first ever came at Knockhill in Scotland at the end of last season on his debut in the class. Come round to begin the final lap now. Into the chicane. Can Will Butler make it 2 out of 2? Already seen a couple of doubles. Fred Ling, Martin Peters, and of course Lee Wood in the classics as well. It's very close between the four of them now. Paul Batson move up to challenge as well. It's only over the infield loop they've got to go then through the tight right-hander back onto the main circuits. These events that visits Pembrey every year, the likes of the British Truck Racing Championship, of course. Can you imagine trucks on a rallycross course? Will Butler closing up then. He's going to have a look on the inside. He's not going to get there. David Attiwell's only got to put his foot down through the final right-hander, and David Attiwell wins round 2 for the FIA Cross Cars, sponsored by SGS Gases. Second place going to Will Butler. It's Paul Batson who took third ahead of Luke Holly. Ethan Rouse will complete the finishers. Paul Batson still with his foot down there. I don't think Paul Batson's realised the race has finished. Yeah, he's still going round the infield loop. He hasn't seen the checkered flag. He does take third place though. Only 0.4 of a second in it between David Attiwell and Will Butler at the line. Less than a second further back was Paul Batson in third. Luke Holly taking fourth place. They were covered by just 2.5 seconds. Ethan Rouse completing the 5 finishers in our FIA Cross Car A final, sponsored by SGS Gases.
Well, Dave, we're more used to seeing you driving around in your in your Nova, and here you are in a very different kind of vehicle. How's it been transferring from big four wheels to the cross car?
Totally different. Obviously, this is rear-wheel drive, and Nova's front-wheel drive. You're in a car, you're in a space frame buggy. The setup is crucial. Tyres are crucial, like anything is, but these more than others. You can drive a normal road car and get away with it with certain setups, whereas these, one little tweak, and obviously you can make a massive difference. So, but no, I'm well happy, obviously, with the result. So,
and it must have been very slippy, slidey for you in those conditions with so much more power than you've got grip.
Yes, so you're constantly feathering the throttle and trying to control what's behind you, pushing you along. But no, absolutely over the moon. So yeah, tomorrow's another day, but might not be my turn tomorrow. We'll see what happens, won't we?
Well, indeed we will, who knows?
Yeah, it's been amazing. So whether we went from one setup this morning to jumping into the final in the wet, slippery, muddy, and so obviously made the right choices because it's So roll on tomorrow. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
Well, enjoy the spoils of your win today first.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, we'll do. We're going to have a beer in a minute. Yeah, and go from there. You're going to be in the bar?
I'll see you in there.
See you in there.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers.
Finally, we have the 4x4 A final, 2 classes. The Clubman 4x4, sponsored by Cooper Tyres on the front row. The modified 4x4, sponsored by MacG Racing on the second row. It's Roger Thomas in the Fiesta, Andy Grant in the Ford Focus, and Michael Boak in the Skoda, who will lead them away. And it's Andy Grant, something of a rallycross veteran, who leads them away in the Grant Auto Services Ford Focus. Michael Boak up into second place. Behind them, we've got the Mitsubishi of Thomas Ramanauskas. Chris Baker in the Subaru. So 2 4x4 classes running together here. It's the Clubman cars, the quickest cars here this weekend, who are out in front. Andy Grant had 2 heat wins. Roger Thomas, the local man, had 1 in the Fiesta. While in the modified 4x4s, 2 heat wins for Thomas Ramanauskas and 1 for Chris Baker. While Andy Grant in the Will Gollop built Ford Focus, the car that Andrew Jordan, the future British touring car champion, raced in his formative years in Rallycross, out in front. Roger Thomas coming through into second there. He's had a number of fast Fords in the Clubman 4x4 category over the years. Also, I believe, if memory serves me right, had the ex-Christopher Evans Opel Astra from Ireland a few years back as well. He's pulled ahead of Michael Boak. Smoky Bokey, as he's known, used to race a diesel-powered Audi TT in Rallycross a few years ago, I remember. Now in this Skoda Fabia. He's dropped back though into third place, might drop into the clutches of the two modified 4x4 machines, the Mitsubishi of the Lithuanian Tomas Ramanauskas and Chris Baker's Subaru. Andy Grant, who leads the way. Great to see him back out after a few years away from the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Seen him in the British Championships in this Focus. Sideways there through the tight right-hander. He's pulling away again from Roger Thomas, the local driver in his Fiesta WRX, as it's listed. A Rallycross supercar, that one, as is Andy Grant's Ford Focus. Here's the battle in the Mac G Racing modified 4x4s. Tomas Ramanauskas defeated Christopher Baker in the first round at Blyton. They were second and third in the 4x4A final. It was Max Langmaid's BMW Mini Countryman that won on that occasion. He's not here this weekend. Haven't got the all four Minis, unfortunately. There's Michael Boak. Good to see the Skoda out there. It's Cooper Tyres Clubman 4x4s. There is the 888 Racing Team Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 4. Great season Tomas Ramanauskas had last year. Take the 4x4 title. Chris Baker behind him. It's a shame we haven't got the likes of Paul Davis and Dan Beattie in their Subarus out there this year. Hopefully we'll see them back in months to come. Roger Thomas frantically trying to keep the pace with Andy Grant, and he has closed back up here. The two fast Fords at the front of the field, but Andy Grant has got a lot of experience. His son Michael Grant has raced with this championship in the past in the Classic division in a Fiesta. Andy Grant just about holding on here at the wheel of the Mark 1 Focus. It's Will Godd and Andrew Jordan car, two real stellar names of Rallycross. Andrew Jordan raced as a youngster in Rallycross before going on to fame in touring cars, now races historic cars including Lotus Cortinas. Will Godd, who we mentioned, arguably Britain's greatest ever Rallycross driver. Chris Baker there at the back of the field in the Subaru. It's looking good for Andy Grant in the Focus. Can he hold off the local man Roger Thomas in the Fiesta? Stunning looking car that is. It's such an aggressive stance, the number 95 Mark 7 Fiesta. He's all over the back now of Andy Grant. Could we see a last bend lunge here from Roger Thomas? Here they come, they swing through the last corner. Straight lays from Andy Grant, he keeps his foot down. I think he's just about going to hang on. Roger Thomas has a look at the inside, but Grant hangs on just to take the win ahead of Roger Thomas. They're well clear of Michael Boak, who's dropped back into the clutches of Tomas Ramanauskas. Could we see one of the Clubman cars defeated by the modified 4x4s? I don't think so. Smoky Bokey does look a bit smoky there out of the final corner. I hope that's not a sign of problems. He takes third ahead of Ramanauskas, who wins his division, and Baker in fifth. Just half a second in it at the line there in the Cooper Tyres Clubman 4x4 division for Andy Grant over Roger Thomas, with Michael Boak dropping back in the closing stages there in the Skoda Fabia, taking third place. Our quickest division here this weekend, while in the Mac G Racing modified 4x4s, just under 2 seconds in it between Tomas Ramanauskas, the Lithuanian, ahead of Chris Baker in the Subaru.
Well, here with me is a last-minute addition to our programme, Andy Grant, who's brought his wonderful Focus out of semi-retirement and obviously enjoying your driving.
Well, we had booked in the Corsa, a little cool two-wheel drive Corsa that we built, and I was all geared to come up here. And then I saw there was a few more 4x4 entries, so I rang up John and said, any chance of swapping the entry? So yeah, so the only thing that's gone wrong with the car today is the starter motor wire broke off, and hey ho, I've won.
And it's a car with such an amazing history in Rallycross, right from when it was first built by Will Gollop through Andy Jordan, and you've had the car how long now?
I think it's 12 or 13 years I've had it now, and a lot of it's still the same as Will done it, but obviously I put my own improvements in it, and it's not a slouch, that car.
No. But it's always been competitive. Fantastic to see you out there driving it and being so competitive again.
Yeah, that's good. It'd be nice if they can get the four-wheel drive championship again running next year, but if there's enough people doing it on the BTRDA, well, we'll do that. But we had some good fun this weekend.
Yeah. But it's been looking good, sounding good, and big smile.
That's it. Thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks, Andy. Okay. Cheers.
Well, Well, that wraps up day one here in South Wales for the Autosport International BTRDA Clubman's Rallycross Championship. Thankfully, not many drivers with any major repairs to make to their cars ahead of day two tomorrow, where everything is turned around and they run on the anti-clockwise course for round 3. That's all coming up in our next programme, but that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.